Hello, fellow Mythrunians. Welcome to another live stream. Tonight we're going to be working down the punch list for the release again, still converting stuff for the new model view state. I think we're going to start with the property claim stuff because that's what I'm working on right now, and then hopefully we'll get back to the choppable blocks and get pretty good with that, progress with that. Once again, down below, the bottom of the screen is the super secret link for downloading the January release, and that's where you'll download the next release too. That's the password. You can also join the Discord, etc. If you're new to the stream, welcome. Otherwise, let's get started. Let me thank the patrons. Definitely making a difference. Thanks, guys. Oh boy, we got emoticons already. All right, so I don't want to spend too much time because we got a lot to do. I think that I think I'm going to turn off the mouse input thing. Yeah, you guys probably don't need to see my mouse the whole time. And if you forget that link, it's in the upper left corner. Alrighty. So welcome to the stream. Whoever, have to think of a cool topic to talk about tonight like we did last week. Let me minimize that for now. So let me show you what I'm working on. Hopefully I haven't put it in an uncompilable state. I can actually also show you some of the stuff I did since last time. So I was working off this list, and I don't remember where we got, and I rearranged it all, but I got basically, it's not much to show because it's basically showing how it used to work and now it still works. And so I got up to property claims, which currently does not work right, and just like choppable blocks does not work right. And I'll show you what I'm kind of doing here. For those of you who don't know what property claims are, this will also be a illustrative example. Hope you all had a good week. I had a sort of mixed bag of productivity. I was very productive with Mythruna at the beginning of the week, and then this past few days I've gotten waylaid by some other things. And these next few weekends I have to do a lot of work around the house to get the place ready for a party at the very beginning of or middle of June, because my younger child is graduating from high school. And there's a bajillion things to do. Yeah, similarly. Oh, so here's an interesting thing. So so I did make a little campfire thing that you can place down. So you can place your own campfire things down, and you can hear the sound effects. But the cool is you can like douse them. Here. Oops. Here we go. Oh. Here we go. Douse. Yep, and lights go out. We can relight them. So I put these here as markers for the property claim. Which one? I think this one is the one that was already there, and this one's the one I added. Just so I can see where it is without... Anyway, so property claims are where you get to select your own property and mark a section of the world that only you can modify, or the people you give permission to, which has not been implemented yet, but the old Mythruna had all this. Old Mythruna had actually a very nice and complicated system. You could have town properties, and then you could give out subplots to people, and they could build houses in there, and that'll all come back again and be formalized and stuff. But for now, I just built whatever minimum I needed to do for the server, but now I got to get it to work again. So if we show properties, so there's my little box that shows that property that I placed down, but normally it's supposed to have corner markers that I can drag to make that box bigger, and those aren't set up right now. I should probably make things brighter so you all can see. So that's what I'm working on right now. This is still the old property stuff that's drawing this, and so I'm porting that over and checking. I've found as I've ported all of these things over, animation rigs, model picking, all these things, as I've ported them over, I sort of build them from the ground up, copying the code that I still want to use and leaving other stuff behind. And I find I fix like at least 6 or 7 bugs just by sort of readdressing everything from the ground up. And so that's what I'm doing also with the property claims. So I think I've got it to the point where it's keeping track of where these corners are. And I need to port this cool little force field thing over to the new way as well. It's kind of cool. You can see the fire through the... So anyway, and then there's a bunch of stuff. The property claims are weird because the markers are actual entities on the server, but they don't have shapes, which is why we can't see them. And so on the client, I need support for client-side only shapes. So temporary UI type shapes that only this player can see. And so that'll be a little tricky, and we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, so currently I'm just trying to get the current functionality ported over to the new way. I believe I should have some logs to verify that it's working. So let's claim view state. Let's check. Whee! Okay, so they're all legacy. Okay, we did have... So here's a good test, right? We've got all of the markers for the old one and all of the same markers for the new one. And actually, yeah, the old legacy model view state, I've been finding all kinds of bugs, places where models weren't cleaned up correctly and so on and so forth. So I'm kind of glad to be moving to something newer and a little more elegant. Oh, I did spend a bunch of time fixing some performance issues too that I found. Yeah. There's still one that I want to look at, but so when you cross those big tile boundaries on the map, the grid lines on the map, there's like you drop about 3 or 4 frames as it rebuilds the far terrain. And it's not supposed to because all this is on the background, but there's a operation just to prepare to do it on the background that apparently is taking long enough that it drops a few frames and it's noticeable. I'll also note that at the moment I have the butterflies turned off because they just get in the way of trying to test all this stuff. They generate a lot of logging. All right, so here we are. This is the legacy claim view state. Yeah, what happens is that I have this new spatial entity container which simplifies a lot of the code and eliminated a lot of bugs too. And so we're watching basically for anything with a spawn position and a claim marker. And what we'll use that for, if you want to think about it, where's my whiteboard? We can, come on, whiteboard software. You can do it. You can do it. Eventually. Come on. Anyway, each corner. Come on. See, the client. Why is this so slow today? I just want to draw on the screen. So let's use this as a property claim for now. So you got the 4 corners, and then there's a center marker that you can put wherever you want. And eventually that will be where your map marker is. Sure, as soon as I start using that as a illustration, it goes away. Man, why so slow? All right, come on, guys. So, like each of the corners, but, and these are the markers that I detect because there's really no way to detect the area between the markers, right? There is a claim there. All those markers refer to it, but it doesn't have any kind of spatial geometry for me to query on to say, oh, that's close to the player. So all I can do is query for the corners. And then, yeah, so you've got, 1 corner, 2 corner, 3 corner, 4 corner, and then, the sign in the middle. That's invisible, but that'll be where the title shows up on the map. And I don't know if I've implemented this yet, but in the old Mythruna, you could turn it and that would have set the orientation of the text on the map and stuff. It was kind of cool. Anyway, so these I can detect because these are objects with a spatial position. And so then if one of these, if the player is standing here, I really should get a little player icon I can place down. So if the player is standing here and this is the area of the world we're loading around him, we see this marker, and so we know we have to load this whole claim and draw the, when it's visible, we want to draw the little glowy force field thing. But even when not, so if there was another claim that I'm standing inside of here, I do some preliminary calculations on the client so that I don't bother sending requests to the server if I know this player can't edit here. And it also potentially means that if at some point the block wand has like a different icon for whether you can place something or not, for example, right now it highlights a block, and perhaps someday when you're inside of an area you can't edit, it won't even highlight the blocks because that'll be like an indicator, or it'll highlight them in red. Anyway, so regardless of whether they're visible or not, I do load all these corners, and I keep track of the current claims, the claim areas that are loaded. And so that's kind of what this code over here was doing. When the marker is visible, when the marker is within the player's area of interest, it's very difficult to say, it will acquire the area so that we can view the area. That's kind of what I'm about to port. This is the old code, which is why I've got that all commented out here, ready to go. So we got this thing called an area view, which that's the cool cloud force fieldy thing, and I think that actually might be, oh no, it is here, right here. I actually think there's a bug related to this, because I've seen them not move properly when like you cross a cell boundary, what I call a leaf, those lowest level 32 by 32 grid sections. Yeah, so for an area we still need that. Yeah, because it's got a center marker that we're going to want to get. Claim area, area geom. Okay, so that's the external part. I think I can take this directly. I don't even think I need to import anything else, but let's check while I look through it. Yeah, so the update relative position is the key to making sure area field. Area field must have been local to here. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So I'm cheating, especially on the live stream. I've preloaded IntelliJ, which actually could explain why things are running so slow. This has been running in the background. I've got like a low-key 33% usage. I like IntelliJ a lot, but I find if I let it run for several days, and I let it run after I did my last move of classes and renaming of classes, I find if I let it run long enough, it starts to gobble up CPU and I have to restart it. But what I want to do is take this and move it, and it'll just be on the live stream. I have techniques for doing this myself, but on the live stream it will be easier to just do this. I'll go to refactor, and it moved it. Okay, I can close that, reload that. Yeah, because now the imports have changed. But now this guy shouldn't have to import it anymore. And yeah, I have to add the array list. Yep, that's the only thing missing, so we can grab that from up here. Areas and area list. So you need to be able to look up the areas by entity ID, and you need to be able to iterate over them quickly, and that's what that Dian array does. It's like an array list, but you can get the underlying array, so you don't have to create an iterator every time. Okay, so that guy is all set. I should be able to also steal. I can steal this directly. That logic is good, or if it's not good, it's not something I'm going to fix today. This is what the client uses. Given a world location, tell me what permissions I have. Can I edit blocks? Can I move objects? Oh, that's interesting. I thought I copied the defaults over. I did not. Okay. So last week we talked about guilty pleasure movies and shows. Is anybody playing any cool games right now? One of the free games this month on PlayStation was this game called Tunic, which I started playing in like 5 or 10 minute increments the other day. They don't explain a lot. You kind of figure it out as you go, which I think is cool. You're this little fox you start out with like a stick you can beat people with, but then you get a sword and so on. Exploration wise and combat wise, it kind of reminds me of like a Metroidvania, except for it's 3D isometric third person. But as far as being able to open up, once you get to a certain place in the world, you can open up a passage to get there quicker later, and you find little secrets. And anyway, by the other night I was full on addicted to it. I played it for like 2 hours to just exploring. It was really cool. And then tonight I played it for like 10 minutes and hit the first real boss, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can't defeat this guy. I don't have time. I don't have time to grind that like 50 times to figure out what to do, so I just put it away. Okay, so I wanted to take the acquire. I want to steal. Yeah, they make periodic improvements. I watch from afar because I'm very interested in their development. It's a huge project, huge undertaking, and so I appreciate that, right? As a fellow pursuer of a huge, impossible undertaking, I appreciate what they're doing. But yeah, so I watch from afar because I'm curious, but not enough to play. I know better. Like for example, I played Elite Dangerous for a little while, and I would set up my chair and go down there and play for a long time, and that's like you can't even get out of your ship in Elite Dangerous. And I was playing that a lot. I know better. This is right now that for me this is my main game, and so like anything that seems like it's going to take time away from, I mean, like to me this coding now is to the point where it's like playing a game. I get daily puzzles and new problems to solve. So I think this all works. Area view. How will I know? How will I know? I could go really sort of medieval and just remove the old one. Somebody is going to fail, so I should probably find legacy claim view state. Who's using it? I suppose I could have used IntelliJ to tell me the same thing. Property management state gets it. Block manipulator gets it. Original digger manipulator gets it. That's a lot of fixes. Alright, so maybe for the moment I will leave it enabled, and then over here, instead of attaching, well, that's a good question. How does this decide what's been you're starting it not in the sky? I mean, it gets crazy. Yeah. Um, I really enjoyed No Man's Sky just because I enjoyed it more than Elite Dangerous. Elite Dangerous was kind of hardcore. I liked that aspect of it to some extent, but it did feel a little weird that I could buy this spaceship that can go faster than light and stuff, but then it has no automatic docking. Like I have to manually. I get that that's the game, but it did get a little old after a while. And I felt like a FedEx driver. But I really enjoyed No Man's Sky, even at release time, because it's just like, I see a planet, and I can go fly there, and I can go walk around, and oh wow, these. I mean, a lot of it was a bit samey, but for just playing for an hour at a time, it was nice to just go get lost in different worlds with no real goal in mind. Um, let's see. I got lost with what I was doing. I want to see what makes this visible and what makes it doesn't. It was overwhelming. Wow. Yeah, I have the PlayStation VR, and it does not work with Elite Dangerous. Like I got Elite Dangerous because it was rumored that it would eventually support PlayStation VR, and then like almost the week after I got it, they said no, never. We can't do it. And so I'm like, oh well. But No Man's Sky does apparently, but I haven't tried it yet. Again, I have to be careful. I know my weaknesses. So something here. There's visibility, and I need to remember how visibility. Oh, we set it false. So if we're enabled, okay. So if I run this, the new one doesn't manage its enabled or disabled state. So in theory, if I run this without enabling property views, I should see the property, presuming that the compile works. Yes, it does. Doop 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 doop. AED. Oh, I see. So yeah. And since last week's conversation, I've been thinking a lot about watching a movie or something. I haven't had the time, but tonight I might. Oh, I see. Yeah, Elite Dangerous is very diegetic. Like all the user interface tended to be in game, which is what I like. And I'm trying to do that for Mythruna as well, right? As much as possible. I mean, debug menu aside, right? As much as possible, I want like your character, and there will be some like little indicators down here, but for the most part, this is the user interface, and when you pull this out, it'll eventually be a book that you open up in front of you, and all this stuff will be in the book. But I appreciate that more, and that also well suits it for VR when everything that you interact with is technically an object in the game. That's so unfortunate that this did not show the. Oh, well, I feel special now. I've been curious about the new Ghostbusters. Wow, something is. Oh, it's probably the live stream that's telling me why it's So there should be a property claim here, and I'm not sure why it's not showing up. Oh, I know exactly why it's not showing up, because I'm an idiot. I spent too much time talking about games and stuff. Anyway, but yeah, guys, give Tunic a try if you're even remotely interested. From my description, I thought it was pretty cool, especially if you've already got PlayStation Plus and you get it for free. It's one of the free games this month. Okay, so what I need to do is in my here I'm not actually acquiring anything, so that's why. So we want the claim marker, yes. We want the area, yes. We can't do the other things yet, so I'm going to move those down here because they're separate. Model, 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 model. Okay. Release area view. Yes, that's what we want to do. I wonder why. Well, somehow it worked. Oh, because the area view does a watched entity. Yeah, so it watches. Okay. So we should see sparkly, glowy wall because I've fully hooked it up this time. Duh. Yeah, I'm still working through Stargate Next Generation, Star Trek Next Generation. We already watched Stargate, in fact. Star Trek The Next Generation with my older child and like older adult child. My child that's older than the other child, who is a young adult. We've been watching that. Most of it still holds up pretty well. It's kind of surprising. In a few days, we're gonna start paralleling Deep Space Nine because we're almost to the point in the series where they broke off, and so I thought we'd kind of watch them together every other night, kind of thing. Why can't I see the stupid claim areas? And I've learned from experience that sometimes I have to watch for the queues to empty. That's why the campfire takes a second to load. Poop. Yeah, it should have worked. That should have shown up. Am I logging anything useful? I should probably pay attention to development for a second. Yes, we are. So if I do this, releasing area view, we had an area view, created area view. What do you want to make a bet that it was there? But never got positioned correctly. Who normally positions it? YouTube is not receiving enough blah blah blah. Reset relative coordinates. Yes, but that's only done if... Alright, so who over here updates the relative position? Reset relative coordinates, update geometry, so it's doing it over here too. Yep. And that's it. Okay, so we created it. Did I see an updated geometry? I didn't. So it never updated geometry. Why? Invalid is true. It should have updated the geometry. Did I screw something up? Oh. We're not running. There was something else I didn't copy over. Yep. Lasai. Okay. I have high confidence that we'll see glowy thing this time. Come on. Come on. That slow loading of that slow is relative, I suppose, but gives me lots of time to think about ways to improve that. You know, short of converting all the scripts, all the Groovy scripts to Java so that they don't have to compile every time. I think about ways to make that go faster. Okay, look. Hey, the new way works. Okay, so now we need to get the corner markers working. So the tricky part about that is that the old way, basically, the old model view state kind of exposed its guts to let us do that. It basically gave us access to the direct thing that it's managing, and I don't want to do that this time. And the new models have like an interesting, a different life cycle. So let me think about this a second. Yeah, so the tricky part is how to explain. So the model view state, it watches entities with position and shape, right? Whoa, that's not what I want. And so as long as it's got a position and shape, basically, you know, it will make models and we can see them. And it, you know, does this for the local area. And it manages the position, you know, manages the, you know, actual geometry position, you know, relative to the player, etc., 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 etc. When we want these, I called them stand-ins before, but I think I'm going to call them phantoms or something. I don't know. We want, all we have is here, we have a position. We know the position, and we want to select our own shape. And the thing is, why? The thing is, like, if we do that, like if we inject, you know, the model view that it's using to do this, that's all fine. It will update and it'll move it relative. It'll handle all that for us. But it won't automatically update the position because it's not actually watching that entity. All we did was say, hey, give me the phantom for. We could set it up to do that, but it's a whole bunch of other management that goes in here that I don't want to do that. So we need to return something, because we already know the position in the claim view state. We need to return something that otherwise lets him manage it, but we need to be able to update the world position from time to time. But otherwise he does everything. So we need to have like a new interface that mostly does nothing but lets us set the world position and visibility, because we need to be able to turn it on and off and stuff. So I think we will not get away from having these kind of handles in the world of things that we can. Yeah, I mean, I just don't. I called them stand-ins before, but I don't like that word. Yeah, so the life cycle of a model now is that model view state, when it sees a new entity, it creates a model view internally. And that model view only has position, like it knows parent child, it knows position, world position, um, parent child relationships, visibility, and lighting. It doesn't necessarily know a model yet, right? When it has a shape or the shape changes, it will create a model. And then the model might create a spatial. And not necessarily right then, but later. So just because you have a model view doesn't necessarily mean you have a shape. And just because you have a model view with a shape doesn't necessarily mean you have, what Jamie's spatial, so geometry we'll call it, doesn't necessarily mean you have geometry. So there's a life cycle here, and that made it really flexible for doing all the things I needed to do. So the phantoms, whatever I call them, I don't like the word phantoms, but I like it better than stand-ins. What do I want to call these? Ghosts means something in physics, so I don't want to call them that, but that's kind of where phantoms come from. They're not stand-ins because stand-ins implies that we're going to replace them with something later, but that's not really it. They're kind of temporary views. Well, I'm going to call them temporary views. Yeah, what's a better word for temporary in this case? Naming is important, guys. You'll find. See stand-in. Yeah, but that's a different kind of temporary. That's a stand-in, meaning something's potentially going to replace it later. I like non-permanent. Impermanent. I think temporary is probably the best word. Alright, so let's call it temporary view. Okay, actually that should have been an interface, but that's alright. Mythruna client view object. We don't need this because it's going to be an interface. Presents a temporary client only model that is managed by the model view state but positioned by external code, calling code. Alright, so we want to be able to get, we need very little. We need to be able to set the position. For sure. It's some silica math D, the double math. 3D world. Okay, and let's go ahead and make it so we can release it when we're done with it. That seems reasonable. All right. So here, we're going to want some way to manage these so we know which ones we have. Temporary view. Temp views. New hash map. All right. Temporary view. I'm glad temporary is a word that I know how to type without too much trouble. Temporary. Ah, there. As soon as I said that. ID, entity ID. Oh, we might be able to. Might want to be able to change the shape. Shape info shape. Except the model factory. What does model factory want? Shape name and shape info. Yeah, because that's the other thing. Model, the creation of the model gets delayed because to interpret the shape info just has like a string ID, which means we sometimes have to go back to the server to ask for what the string is so that we know what shape name to create. I'm wondering if we want to support just passing both at the same time. Then we can create it all instantly. But model view state is not going to create it all instantly. I believe model view is going to, if we update the shape info, yeah. We actually don't care. We're not grabbing the spatial or anything. We don't care. We set the position, we release it. Yeah, we don't care. We don't care. Create it when it wants to. It will appear eventually. Alright, so we do want to be able to say create it or just grab it, right? Or maybe we always want to create a temporary view. And we don't necessarily need to manage them. Yeah. Let's go with that. So we're always going to create one. And so we'll get model view. We'll always create one of those. Get view, that's what I want. Okay, so we're always going to create one of those. I believe we want to acquire it. Is there an acquire? Acquire. Acquire, release. Update shape info. We don't want to call that. We want that. Oh yeah, we have to be able to set both. So we want there we go. No problem. Okay. So yes, we want to acquire it. That makes it not automatically release. Means we could create multiple temporary views and it'll keep a counter, and so then we'd have to release all of them before it would disappear. And so temporary view result equals new temporary view. We're just going to make a inner class because it's super easy. is taking longer than I hoped, but all this is important stuff. We got to get it done. And so like sometimes for these live streams, I try to do something fun. Like I pick a topic, not necessarily what I'm working on, but I really have to get this release out. I need to like put a pin in it and work on the next big thing, whatever that turns out to be. World position, world road. I think I'm gonna name the other one world position. We have a lot of positions in this thing. Some of them are relative, some of them are world. Okay, so we can return that, and I think that compile. Let's just double check while I'm looking at it. So I guess it's sort of the minimum we would need to, to make those markers. And so I think I can come over here and not the legacy claim view state, the regular claim. Okay, so we don't want a model, we want a temporary. I shouldn't have said that I can type it easily. In reality, we only want to grab one if it's visible, because we don't want to bother the model view state if we're not even showing it. But for now, who normally calls reset visibility? Yes, that's on enable, yeah. And then the reset visibility, yes, that's if we're, okay. Model set visible, yeah, so we don't want to do that. We want to for now. Yes, I don't. Yeah, that's the only place it exists. So okay, let's just get this working for a second. Create temporary entity get ID, and that's interesting. So we're gonna end up querying the server just to do this one. Wow, that's more or less awful. We are doing a query here. Oh, interesting. So actually, we should be able to say claim marker get type. I think that probably they're using the same. So whenever you end up passing the entity data, strings are big. You don't want to send them over the wire. So there's a built-in string index that you can use for your entity components that turns them into an integer, and so just sends the integer instead of whatever string you want. And here we're saying, okay, whatever type ID claim marker has, give me the string, and then we're telling shape info, hey, create an ID from that string. Really, we could just grab the ID and pass it. It's the same string index. But I need to find the, need to be able to read mix control. No, we're in the wrong ballpark. Shape name, also in the wrong ballpark. Oh no, mix, oh never mind. I know, let's do this. Claim marker. Get type name, get type ID. That is the convention that I use. I shouldn't have had to look it up. Um, so yeah, because we're not adding anything to it or anything. Then we can just say, in fact, new shape info. So type ID, and I usually leave shape info open. It's part of the physics stuff. Yep, ID scale. Good, good, good. Okay, so that should give us our temporary view. Oops. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, so this .temp view equals models create temporary view. And then when we release it, we want to release the temp view as well. When we update it, we get the spawn position and we set the temp view, set world position. I could have just passed the spawn position, but this is a little more flexible. Okay, so we should, with this, we should be able to see markers. Assuming it compiles. Oh, according to this, everyone has dropped. What do I call it? Get facing. So if you're still on, nope, even according to YouTube, everyone has dropped. Am I even still online? Yep. Oh, okay, so YouTube's just lying to me. What? What? Is that world position, Quati? What am I doing wrong? Orientation. Yeah. I need to be consistent with that. The physics book. So one of the books I use to write my physics engine, he made a point to make the distinction between orientation and rotation. Like rotation, you could say turn around 3 times. That's rotation. Whereas orientation is sort of a specific, it's your orientation. It's not, you could describe it with a rotation, but like if I rotate around 360 degrees, I am still facing in the same direction. That was a 360 degree rotation, but my orientation has not changed. So that's why I tended to use, in a lot of cases, orientation, but JMonkey Engine uses rotation. And so there's all kinds of code that bridges the gap that, depending on how I felt that particular day. Oh yeah, we got all of our, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. So we get the view. We're not worried about visibility just yet. We set the world position. We release the view. Okay. We should be good. It'd be cool if we see those little corner markers. If, like, I could get this done in the first hour, that would be kind of interestingly bookended, but the visibility part is not important. I could implement that on my own, just as long as it's functional, because I broke it with the new model view state. Like, you can't drag your properties around. So if we get back to dragging properties, then I can move on to the next thing. We'll just leave them visible. No, we do not see them. which number of things are going wrong. Okay, so here's an interesting thing. There's a way we can kind of cheat debugging, because, you know, so one of these entities is 48. Oh, that's the area view. Oh, that's the center. Yes, 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 yes. So we could put some special logging in just for entity ID 48. But I'm wondering if, okay, so we got that. I lost my train of thought, but I wonder, we get the temporary view. We don't necessarily set its position. Yeah, we do. This will set it. Oops. Okay, so we're going to go through some debugging here. And then over in the model view state. Info. Entity ID. Set world position. World. Okay, so I think maybe what's happening is that the view is not getting updated to the point where it grabs its model. No, that can't be right. Okay, so 48, that's easy to remember. In the model view, let's Boolean debug. Then we set, actually we set debug equals entity ID dot get ID equals 48. Alright, so now we've got debug. We don't have a parent ID, we don't have to worry about that. Lighting, we don't really worry about. What makes it visible? Oh. It starts off invisible, doesn't it? Yeah, so visible starts as false, so we never actually make it visible. We update spatial. I bet all of this is happening. If debug let's call it claim view state, so it shows up in our logging that we search. Yeah, so I'm going to make an assumption for a second that Check equals no viz check equals good. What is viz check? What is the viz check? Okay. I don't set it, so it should be null, I think. Set visible viz check equals null. So we should be setting it to visible. Cool. Which games? Let's try this. All right, thanks, Ron. Tell the kiddos good night for me. It's weird, I guess. This one for stars. Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm waiting for this one too. I dream about it. I dream about it at night. Who sets the... That's what I was going to look at. Who sets the viz check? Ah, yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, so if we don't set it at all, we should be visible. Okay. Let's try again. All we can do is try again. Cool. Man, my idea list is so long. Why? What is it complaining about? Cannot find symbol. 215. Okay. No. Must be over here. Yeah, that's what it is. Little Kilroy debugging. There's definitely a lot more, Block World voxel games than there used to be. It's nice that it became a genre, and I don't get the same sort of low-key, small percentage of hostile people asking me what the hell I'm doing, etc. All right. Let's see what we got. Oh, and by the way, you can maybe see, if I go up here, you can kind of see some airships up there. So one little airship up there, one little airship up there. I plopped them down. Actually, there's another one right there. There's 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. I plopped them down to see if you could still see them from far away. That's also like one of those stone towers. And so as far away as you can see the towers, you can see... As far away as you can see buildings, you can see the airships, which is kind of cool. All right, so we don't get markers, but we should have more debugging. Oh, we were getting all kinds of debugging. Look at that. Constantly setting it to true. Okay, so we definitely set visible to true. Yeah, that's not helpful. Okay, set visible. Oh, thanks. Yeah, for the far tower, yeah. I could even use it for the far, I don't right now for the far away airships, but I could. because that was in my original prototype. All right, so we create the view for entity 48. We up the geometry because that's different. Yeah, okay, so I need to take out that, you guys, I really hope to have that part done by 10, but I think you guys are just going to have to deep dive with me while I sort this out. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so we've got our debug stuff. We know that's working. Because I think in Java, I've been using it since 1996 or so, and it's just I'm most comfortable in Java. I believe that if I wrote it in C++, I would still be debugging the memory leaks in the first version. The general rule of thumb is that if you could write an application in Java in 4 months, it would take you a year to find all of the memory bugs if you wrote it in C++. And things have improved a lot as far as the tooling. But you also got to remember, when I started this, there was no such thing as open source Unity, or none of that stuff was free. Also, again, I'm a Java developer. I'm going to do whatever's in Java. If Godot was written in Java, I'd be looking at that. I am using JMonkey Engine. I didn't write all of this from the ground up, but by writing even if I used Unity or Unreal Engine or something, I'd have ended up writing all of the same stuff. Because I use Java, I get a scripting engine for free. Groovy works in there, but you could also use JavaScript. There are a variety of scripting engines already built in, and I was familiar with Groovy, and so it was really easy to integrate. So all of the game logic is written in Groovy, which is kind of cool. What did I want to do? Oh, yes. It's not a lighting issue, right? Let us... Yeah, my problem with C with C sharp is all the capital letters. I feel like when I'm reading it, it sounds like that. It's just a thing, right? It's it's Visual Basic with Java flavor, and I didn't really like Visual Basic either. There were some C-sharp isms that I just, .NET isms that I just couldn't get over after having used Java for so long. Blah, 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 blah. Plus, you got to remember, I've been working on this game since 2011. It's a long time. There's a lot of code. Already written in Java. Okay, set lighting. Make sure we're lighting. Okay, I gotta concentrate for a second. Yeah, I want to do. Okay, update spatial was never called. Was it? It was never called. Okay, so I suspect something went wrong in the creation of the model, which is totally fair because all right, let's debug it. So we've got update shape info, and we've got so load shape would have already been called. Yeah. Oh, but we wouldn't have necessarily seen it because it wouldn't have had our nifty. Yeah, I should have added entity IDs to all these. But whatever. Put the plus on the wrong side. Sometimes I do dumb things. Yeah, I bet that's what's happening. I bet that the something is happening and the model's not getting loaded correctly. So yeah, I'm sorry. We're gonna have to do this the slow way. When I'm half my brain gets devoted to coding and half gets devoted to maintaining the live stream, and sometimes that works out. But it means I have to be a little more methodical, and if I'm not hacking and slashing through stuff just to make it a little more entertaining, then sometimes we have to slog down and work through things one at a time because the lateral thinking's not working correctly. I need to add more splash images. I'm like 90% sure there will be a part 3 next week. Oh, I thought I took the set visibility out. Oh well. But hopefully that's the last one, right? I feel like I'm pretty close to getting this out, getting things wrapped up, but I haven't really looked at I haven't really groomed the backlog. Okay. So we don't get any of the things I expected to get. Did I spell it right? Claim view state. Correct, I did. Yeah, because we get this over and over again. I'm an idiot. I'm a big fat dummy. So we view acquire. We need to view. I'm a big fat dummy. We pass the shape in, but I never give it to it. I do, like, in some cases I do, but like this is full game integration, like it's front to back. That's the part I'm testing, so I have to do it in game. But normally I do create, like in previous live streams, I have like little test apps I run. Anytime I can do that, I definitely do 100%. But like this, I mean, the problem I just had is, yeah, like these are all like full integration stuff. Like where does the shape come from? The shape, anyway, it's tricky. And so when I have 100% concentration towards this screen, I can keep a lot in my head. Yeah, I can keep a lot in my head, but I easily lose my train of thought when I'm also talking. Some days I do it. Some weeks I do it better than others. Some weeks the code goes better than others. This should work better. I'm not going to promise that we're going to see the markers, but we will hopefully be closer. Now I think, if I remember right, when we go into property visibility mode, it might change our tool. Where'd we go? Okay, so yeah, there we go. We got one of them at least. Maybe they're all there? No, just one of them. So can I drag this? That's the question. Yes, I can. Okay, so that part's working. I don't know why we don't have 4 corners. But I can change the... Alright, so we're getting closer. I gotta take out that set visible bullcrap. Yeah, why are we only seeing one corner? So I find how often it is that software development, you come into it thinking, well, worst case, it's going to be A or B. Like, I've either got it working and it'll be A, or I don't have it working, but I expect it to be B if it's not working. And then you run it and you get Q. It's like, wait, that wasn't even in the realm of things I considered. Why? What is it I mean, these are... What is it about that... I need to take that out. We see that all 4 markers get created. Why don't we see 4 markers? We get... yeah, they're separate. E99, B99, CF5. Why don't we have 4 separate ones? And they can't all be on top of each other. Yeah, and I don't know why. Yeah. It's like, I just love it. At work, we had a case where, 7 things errored out in this particular way, and so you start to get the pattern, and then one of the things didn't error out in that way. And now you're like, well, which one's wrong? Because, like, it was one of those cases where, I mean, maybe it's a feature, but why did 7 do it this way and the 8th one do it this other way? Which one's wrong now? So yeah, good times. Okay, I gotta take that visibility thing out. That's driving me nuts. I keep saying that each time. I'm going to do it right now so that I don't forget. Set visible. Yeah, you go. Bye. You go bye-bye. We'll move you down there so it only does it when it changes. Okay. So we're going to do this a little differently in our active Kilroy debugging. Yeah, I don't think that's the case, but that's always the first one to jump to, right? But the fact that we see each of these come in different, although you bring up an interesting point. Oh, so they're all the markers are done the same way. So you're right? You came up, I thought A, I expect, if it worked, it was A. If it didn't work, I expected B. You came up with a C, but it was Q, because if your hypothesis was correct, we would have only seen the center marker or the corner marker because they're treated the same way. But because we saw them both, it points to that it's not just like the same variable getting overwritten. It could be a cache issue. Like we grabbed the same corner marker and then position it. Like rather than getting a clone of the model, we get the same model or some BS like that. say for all of these I should do this so that we're not seeing them unless they change. But what I want to do now is let's debug all of these guys. And so there's going to be a trick I use here that I've put in a lot of code before. Entity ID debug entities. Can I do set of, does the version of Java I'm running 18, so set. I run too many, oh boy. I run too many versions of Java, and so I forget. Set of, yeah, good. Alright, so we want set of new entity ID 48. Comma, the debugging. Okay, so we have the set, and so we can say debug equals that contains entity ID.getID. So now we should see all of the things, and to the variation on your hypothesis, where I suggested it could be the cache, I'm going to, oh, we do say what spatial we loaded, but let's also add the identity hash code so we can see if it's, because JMonkey Engine spatials, if they're clones or not, will give you the same toString. I think it's this, right? Well, the compiler is about to tell me. So we run again. And it doesn't like that. Any idea? But didn't I just confirm that that's there? I'm not familiar with, unfortunately can't see what it's saying there because of this stupid little, not familiar with the framework. I mean, this is just Java. Oh, you're not familiar with my framework. Yeah. Why isn't setup working? I'm pretty sure I'm running, oh, you know what? I wonder if Gradle is set up with Java 8 compatibility. Like, let me see. Doesn't tell you which version it is anymore. Since 9, yeah. So probably my Gradle has source compatibility set to. Well, it would be in the build source stuff. So, okay, hold on. That's going to drive me crazy, so let me see if I can fix it real quick. So, if we go into build source, main Groovy, Java library, Java conventions. Java source compatibility. Let's see what happens if I go up to 9. Will it let me compile? I would go up higher, but potentially open up a can of worms. This may also open up a can of worms. So I do run it. I'm running it in Java 18. At work I use Java 11. It still doesn't like it. All right, you know what? I'm gonna worry about this another time. We don't have time to debug my build setup, and there are easier ways to do this. Arrays as list. There we go. I'm gonna need an extra parenthesis. Come on, compile. You can do it. It can be, it's like some of the continuous integration servers I've used are pain, and then you know, sometimes heavy scare quotes around continuous because they spend half their time not doing builds. Let's save that while I got a chance. That, I don't know, when I see the little icon with the red thing on it, something needs to be saved. I can't. I have to click it. Yeah, and so I just I want to go on a rant about this little icon down here again. The one that's keeping me from seeing all the chat messages. Oh, see, now they're all there. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You want to roll like that, eh? I need to add our own markers here. Oh, I do. I think you can't see it because it's too teeny tiny. But I think that is Fade's stronghold. Yeah, because claim. Yep, that's what that is. I need to fix that so that it's bigger. It's also supposed to, maybe I just haven't implemented that. It's also supposed to rotate when you rotate that so that it's oriented on the map how you would like it oriented. Okay, so why didn't it? So I'm going to pretend that it was a fluke that it didn't work before. But in reality, I think there's probably a subtle bug. But I actually am not sure that that didn't happen before with the old one. I mean, it could have. These have always been a little flaky. Yeah, it's a little. Really, this was always a stopgap anyway. It's really nice to be able to adjust it from here, but it gets a little annoying. And always, what it was supposed to be was that if you go here and you could see it in the map, that potentially, like this map view would be sort of bigger than your area, and then you'd have a little draggable box here that you could use. You know, so it'd be like a little picture of the map, and you could drag your little area around. So that's working. Hey, that's great. Okay. So what do you want to make a bet if I ran it again? It would stop working. Having these grids on all the time, I get used to it. And then I take a screenshot and I realize, oh wait, I left the grids on. I should probably turn that off. Yeah, I was out here because when you cross one of these lines right here, that's this line right here. There's like a definite frame lag, and I'll show you. Except for now, it's making a liar of me. It did not happen. There it goes. There was a like hiccup. Yeah, it's like sometimes as much as half a second. So I want to fix that. It's worse when there's butterflies and stuff because already there's a teeny little frame lag between every one of these that I still have to fix. Anyway, so good. We've got it working. I'm going to pretend it's working now. There's a sorting issue. That's just normal. Oops, I'm sorry. I bumped my microphone. So is this land claimed? Yeah, so this means that this is mine, although this is my test thing, so. And if we flew up to the spawn tower, we would see it's got its own, the spawn tower is way up there. Actually, we can go up there. Let me mark this area. Field claim. Oops. So this is my field claim, and then I can respawn. It's the far terrain, so it's related to the far terrain, and the building, it's because I've still got I was trying to move with the thing open. So the far terrain is divided into these little tiles, and when you cross a boundary, the new tiles are actually calculated on a background thread, but in order for the whole map to slide, one tile over, it repaints all of the individual, sort of quote unquote images it has loaded into this big, bitmap that it has. And that actually is what makes this world. It's a big, sort of texture that then, uses the coloring and the height. And it's just that repainting. That's a lot of squares to repaint. So even if it's pretty fast, it is really fast because I repaint both terrain and fluid, for every tile that was already there that then shifted over. And then still it's only taking like half a second at most, usually about 0.3 seconds. But it's still expensive. And I tried making it kind of try to not do it all in one frame, but then it looks really bad because you get parts of the terrain that didn't update and parts that do, and so you can see through mountains and stuff, and I didn't like that at all. What I need to do is make it so that it's optimized in the sense that if it knows you've only moved one tile over, that it'll just copy the big section of the map over, kind of like the optimized way. It's currently set up so that even if you teleported halfway around the world, it knows how to fill the whole thing in, or at least blank it out, right, as it's loading it. But in the optimal case where we've just crossed one tile, and so one set of tiles goes away and one set of tiles comes back, I should be able to copy the majority of the map over in one big pass instead of 200, or actually probably 250 something little passes. So that's what it is. So yeah, this is what you were asking about, the claim marker. So this is claimed also, but it's claimed by the world. Like, you can't modify the spawn tower unless you're an admin, and I think that's actually broken right now because I haven't been able to modify it even when I wanted to. So I shouldn't be allowed to drag this. Yep, you do not have permission to move objects here. And so it doesn't even bother to ask the server, I think. Maybe it does. But in order to know this is red and not green or whatever, yeah, you don't have permission. So I can't move that. I can't even place my claim over that. I can grab my claim back. I could go here and I could retrieve it and I could place it down here, and you could see mine would be blue and the one I can't edit would be red. So anyway, that works. Let's go over here and check out this airship. Wow. So I'm not sure I want to start on anything else. We can potentially do some backlog grooming with the rest of my time. Yeah, see, I like that they have the lights now. It's really cool. I can't wait till they fly. But so there's another one down there. Yeah, so if we turn off this gaudy grid, and you can see those other airships down there, you can see the town off in the distance lit up. And there, I think it's my little campfire in the middle of the woods. So these will be fun to fly around. You got a little control thing. So we can... And everything looks so pretty. I wish the developer would finish this game so that I could go play it. But yeah, I think when they're moving around, that's going to be magic, right? If that was just flying over like here, heading from one town to another, it's just going to be magic. Just same with the ships. If you had this same ship you know, in the water over there. It's going to be great looking. So I want to see what this light is. I think that might be my campfire. Which I think it'd be pretty cool if you could see the campfire from that far away. Or is this the campfire? Let's go investigate the lights in the dark. You guys probably can't see this very well at all. It's not fair. Okay, there's another light there I'm interested in. This might be like a wizard tower, now I think about it. I know YouTube does horrible things to the darkness, dark scenes here, so flying around in the dark is probably no fun for you guys. Super fun for me, though. Okay, so that's a farm. That's probably a farm also. They have more lights. But what was this lit up place over here? Maybe that is my campfire. It's about in the right location. If we get close enough, it'll... Yeah. Yep, that's my campfire. Look at my cool base, guys. Look at my cool base. Isn't it awesome? Alright, so let's make everything light again. Okay, so yeah. Alright, so that's working. I have to clean it up a little bit, take all that logging crap out now that it's working. Oh, here's an interesting thing. Our markers didn't come back. Yeah, isn't it awesome? In order to support higher build heights, you had to have a farther view distance. So I use tricks, but then you get like these cool vistas. And you can see there's a little tower or something over there. Farm, town. But yeah, our markers went away again. So I've definitely got some deeper debugging to do. I wonder if I flew away super fast and then came back super slow. Let's do it. Let's watch her run really fast. And then I can slow her down. Now she can walk. She's got a lot of motion in her ocean, as they say. Okay, let's go back to standard jog. Yeah, so there's still something wrong with these markers. I'm gonna have to debug that. But in the last 20 minutes, let's like go through the backlog real quick. And you'll see kind of how I manage my tasking, which we've talked about before. It's like I can't resist the little one there, even though I know it's my own notification. So like this was supposed to be the Valentine's Day release. That's how late it is. So I need to rename it. But the next release will probably be in the summertime. What's the calendar look like? Yeah, so maybe by the end of the month I can get this one out. And so why don't we call spring. I don't think I have a 2 yet, so yeah, let's basically reset this. That's right, that doesn't work in here. Oh, it does. It's just slow. Control C, Control V. So let's call this, oops, summer 2024. Maybe my birthday. Maybe for my birthday. We'll get it done. So summer 2024, we are going to replace all of those. If there's only one, I know that. Close, okay. And so that zeroed everything out because that's not what these are called. So we come here, and yeah, that's annoying. Oh, it would have been here. So, yep. Okay, so replace all. Okay, did. So now if we go back here, it should show. I've already got some things marked for the summer release because I pushed them off, but that's kind of like if I don't want to think about it too hard, I just push everything off that I don't want to do this release to the next one, and then when I start the next one, I sort of rack and stack what I want to do. And this is the pivot table that shows me what I've finished and what's still to do, and most of this stuff is not making it in, obviously. These were things carried over from the previous ones, or things I wanted to work on and didn't, or things that are partially done. So what then I do is go through all of these undone one Valentine's Day stuff, and I decide whether they go to the next release or even later, kind of thing. Yeah, it got crazy because I was doing it all on paper to-do lists for a long time, and then I started it in a note file, and then my notes file got out of hand, and I already have like so many text files with different design stuff I got that keeping track of the roadmap in there was impossible. And there's just some value to being able to check things off and say done. I really look forward to this one, the refactor of the model view state, that I gave it like a 13 story points with a risk of 3. So that's like one of the biggest tasks I've ever put in here, and I definitely look forward to calling that one done. But that's what we're tracking here. I have to fix this. Technically, this is a new feature. I don't have to count that in there. But I can fix property claims and then start removing all of the legacy stuff, and then I can call this one done, and I'm going to be very happy with that. But let's go through, find all of the block edit commands revocable. That's definitely not happening now. And what versions do I have? I have this one in pre-alpha. So yeah, let's park that in pre-alpha for now. I don't think I'm going to get to that anytime soon. Yeah, I technically already have this. That I don't. So this is all about chopping trees, but I have to get like the block stuff, the choppable block stuff finished first. Pendex sounds, yep. I still want to do that. I have some rough cuts of pendex sounds. The Gafin. I haven't changed the thing. Dialog script API. Soon. Very soon. Handle markers in the assembly editor. Auto determine. Got to do that. Eventually tool specific. I've started adding this. Preset drag patterns, animations for clicks. I'm going to call that done. It was a small thing. And this I'm going to say 7. I don't think I'm going to get to that anytime soon. What we get out of this, before the live stream ends, if I finish this, hey Lando, how's it going? What we'll get is sort of the list of what's left to do for this release. So I think this is good. I think that I still want to do that, but not this release. Place and rotate object based on center, not origin. That turned out to be harder than I wanted. And this model cache loader for generated spatials. I have done this. I finished it. Makes a big difference, in fact. Do you also have a day job? Oh yeah. My life is my life is very full. I have my 8-hour-a-day day job that sometimes extends into more than 8 hours a day because I work at home. And then, my wife's medical issues. I have 2 kids that don't drive, so I drive them everywhere. The one is learning to drive, and the other would like to learn to drive. And they've both gotten really good about the local bus system, so that's work also. But my younger child is graduating from high school this year, so that takes a lot of time, and is in theater and chorus. And so he's always involved in some after-school thing that I got to get him to. And yeah, so my life is very busy, but I try to work at least an hour a night on Mythruna, and sometimes on the weekend. Really, it was during COVID that I didn't have to take anybody anywhere. I was working at home. Everybody was at home. I didn't have to worry about anything. Hardly drove that entire year. Everything was virtual. That's when Mythruna development really kickstarted, and I created this roadmap because I'm like, you know what? Let's double down, because I was able to work on this 20 hours a week easily. My day job was demanding, but not in an hours way, in a stress way at that time. And I'm since moved to a different project that is actually a little bit more demanding time-wise. Less stress-wise, though, so that's nice. Okay, refactor material carvability. Absolutely need to have that happen. In fact, I'm going to leave that in this release just in case, because I really, that's actually on. Yeah, anyway, I really want to get that done. Do you know how frustum culling would work with really large objects that might be larger than the frustum? I mean, I know how it would work. Like in JMonkey Engine, it would still be visible. But if you are asking how to make it efficient, you would have to break your object up. But like JMonkey Engine will call the things, even the children of your big thing, it will call them out if they're not in that frustum view. Activation boost state, wait, watch for rule changes. That's not going to happen this release, but it needs to happen soon. Players kept, yeah, I looked at that. Man, that's such a difficult one to fix. Automatically create area entities with towns, buildings. Yeah, I can't put that off too far. Yeah, there's still some UI state stuff going on. I'd still like to do that. Scrum Master Paul, yeah, we're going backlog grooming. Everyone's getting PTSD, or they're like right along with me. And I work in virtual teams, so usually I'm used to doing this. Of course, we're not really doing proper backlog grooming because this is just me. I feel like this is done, but again, I have a note here that says that I think I meant it to do something, but it's already so I keep punting it down to the next release to investigate. Create a wedge cylinder stand-in for chopped tree trunks. I have that, but I don't chop tree trunks yet. Pounding poker win. Yeah, because I've story pointed all these, but I include a risk factor too. Like my confidence, like a 1 that's also a 1, that is absolutely the simplest task possible, but you'll see some of these is like I gave a 3 story points, but then I gave it a risk of 3. So to me, that's like a score of 9. I feel like this lets me be. I would never run a team project this way, but for me, this helps me sort of wrap my arms around the work that has to be done, because I can confidently say, hey, if everything goes well, I think this is a complexity of 3, but I don't really understand all the aspects of it, so there could be like some surprises, and so I like to be able to fudge that. Still need to do that. Yeah, that's funny that ambient sounds need their own channel, basically. Figure out a way to better consolidate block data flow. Yeah, that's annoying. Inventory is slow. I hoped to have gotten done with that during the model view state refactoring because they're similar. I think that'll have to wait. Or move queries to other threads. I've found ways to work around that, so it may not ever. I'm going to put that off because it could be a lower priority thing now. I have ways of dealing with that now. Preload and keep all the player inventory. Yes, absolutely, we need to do that sooner rather than later. Player markers on the map. I still like, yeah, Oakster had some problems logging in sometimes. Debug view for agent probes and contacts. I'm still keeping this here. I have it, but it's missing a feature. Yeah, that's annoying. I can't fix it. I don't know how to fix it yet. I think that what happens is when the models are loaded, like their bounding box is built off the T-pose and not whatever their idle shape is. And no matter what I've done to try to update it to be the bounding box of the idle shape, it just doesn't. And so what I may have to do, because I'm not using JMonkeyIn's shadows, I got my own drop shadow support. And so maybe in the rigging tool, where I can specify all of the little shapes for the arms and stuff, maybe I can specify a shape to be sort of the shadow volume. And maybe that will help. Avatar is invisible if clipped before dragging begins. Yeah, not so important anymore because we can't drag our tools directly. Formalize subtype bits. Yeah, that actually turns out to be done, but I mean something different by that. So, draggable rigid bodies. This is absolutely one of the next things that has to happen. Basically, like once something becomes like a floppy object on the ground, you can't drag it. And I need that. I need both being able to drag things and being able to zoom into things. Like, for example, like right now I just plop down a campfire object. But what I would like you to be able to do is zoom in on the ground and place kindling, place the firewood the way you want it, and have that actually mean something. I mean, this is a pie in the sky idea, right? But in an ideal world, I would like that level of detail. Certainly, whether I ever do campfires that way or not, doesn't matter. I want to have that level of control for the players, because I think that there's some interesting game mechanics I can build out of that. Cave fluid levels for connecting stations. That's not going to happen soon, but I don't have another one. Yes. Property dialog. Nah. No. Not this time. Yeah, see, I need like I need like a third release to put things in that I know are not next one, but it's just a pain. Placed objects sometimes don't show up until you leave, come back. This is actually could be related. I'm going to leave it because it could be related also to why we're not seeing those claim markers sometimes. Alternate up-down drag animation. I did this. I'm going to call it done because anything else would mean something else. The lore commands. Yeah, I do still want to implement a lore command. So for me, especially as the developer trying to explore world without having to like use a separate tool to generate a map larger than we could ever see, and I want to know where the desert is, it would be nice. The world knows. I gotta have like there's part of map generation that's not quite working yet that this would rely on. Horizontal cylinders like used in spawn tower not rotate. Yeah, that's a big bug. I looked into this and I didn't write the notes down, I guess. Shutdown of hosted game world is apparently not working. Need to do that. Switching player menus while editors are active. Yeah, I think I fixed it, but I'm not sure. Yeah, hex grid for the map would be cool, wouldn't it? Custom map markers, absolutely someday. But maybe I can do that as pre-alpha. There's a whole like map skill system that's going to happen at some point, where you can make your own maps. Blinking cursor and clothing editor, yeah, would be nice. I need to get the spheres finished. I started them, didn't finish. That's a bug. It's another weird UI state thing. Dragging blueprints should have a separate free drag. Like to even drag them through walls, I think is what I mean here. Like right now it won't let you drag them through the floor or through the wall. Be able to prompt for, yeah, so wouldn't it be cool if we could make our own signs? Object movement. Entering world, object tool focus sometimes doesn't appear. I'm going to leave that for now. Because I think I fixed this actually. That's still broken. I would like to fix it if I can. Ability to move. That can wait. Actually, that can wait a really long time. Maybe. There's some of these methods I'm going to be messing with for the choppable blocks as well, so I might be able to consolidate that. Oh wait, I need to leave that in this. Yeah. Saw player object falling deep through the world. Need to investigate that. I think I fixed this, but I'm going to leave it for a minute. I think we're getting close to the bottom. Yep. Yeah, wouldn't it be nice? Yeah, I'm gonna push that off, but that's gonna be soon because it'd be nice to have some pre-marks for you guys to teleport to on some of my servers. On my server, static to dynamic leaves a collision shape behind some. Yeah, it's still a bug. I'm gonna leave that as a high priority. Kinematic rigid bodies. No, that'll be potentially for the ships. I haven't decided. Snap actions menu. I started this, so I either have to back it out or finish it. Leave those in for now. Fix ramp friction. Dandelions aren't happening this time, which is unfortunate. Action to regenerate the dungeon. That's not happening. Not this time. Cast shapes on the client. I finished this. Yay. I finished this too. Nice. I might have fixed this. I have to check. The twisted shoulders, like some of the, especially the male models, seem to have their shoulders twisted, but I think I fixed that. Character action image, different heights. Yeah, none of this is going to happen. Yeah, the physics test mode and rigger. So at some point, that rigging tool, you have the ability to. I want to have like a tab that you can go to that allow you to run your character around a little obstacle course. You talk about testing without having to run the full game. That would be a big deal because physics is very intense, especially when animations are involved and you're trying to sync up animations with, be able to climb over obstacles and stuff. Window panel is going to have to wait. I'm going to leave it. That's not happening this time. That's not happening, unfortunately. I think this is not true anymore because I think it was a lighting problem and I fixed the lighting problem. I'm going to call it. I'll do a little more intense testing on that. But I think the new model view state fixed that problem. Objects that are equipped do strange things when dropped. I should probably fix that. Except for I don't think we let you drop anything, so we're good. Close, open, prompts, dialog. Oh, yeah, that's not happening. Widen the range of click detection, yes. Sooner rather than later. Yeah, it's a bug. That's not happening this. I almost called it sprint. LT? It or IT? Per mob rig animator configs. Not today. Standardize on a seed table. Yeah, I need to do that sooner rather than later. Oh, wow. Thanks for staying up with me. All right. Well, you sleep well. I'm about wrapped up here. In fact, if you want to wait just 1 second, we can see what the list looks like. So I should be able to refresh this, right? Whoops, refresh. So for now, it's going to select multiple things because I need to go in here and say OK, and then here, and turn off summer, and refresh. Yeah, so this is not so it's not a very good thing. Nah. All right, so I'm gonna finish going through the list. Anyway, good night. Dream about the game, what it could be, and I'm just gonna finish this up over the next few minutes. Randomly move the map marker for quest items. Yeah, so it's like it puts it right on top of where it is. Alter probe location with speed movement. I still want to try to get that in. That too. All right, thanks, man. Yeah, you have to listen to know how Godot works out for you. Implement object find calculation. Yes, not today, not today. Block signatures has to be done. Grass cubes want to fix that. Refactor model view state almost done. Really, really almost done. Copy swing animations definitely need to do that 100%. I don't know why that's happening, so I'm gonna leave it. Okay, so let's look at the final to-do list. So apparently this is what I have sort of on tap, and some of these will go away because I've already done them. Some of them just require some investigation. This is still a really aggressive list to try to get out in the next 2 weeks, but hopefully by the end of the month, I'll have pared it down to nothing by shipping them away or deciding I don't want to. This is the stuff that's going in. All right. I believe that is all I have the saliva for this evening. So I will hit the thanks slide. And if you've watched this far, feel free to like, comment, or subscribe. Feed the YouTube algorithm. I want to do a cool animation with this like creature eating likes and subscribes and feeding the algorithm, right? And thanks again to the patrons. If you've watched to this point and you didn't, please thumbs up the video. That's like would help. And otherwise, I will catch you guys next week. Thanks for joining, and keep it real. Hope you have a productive week. Thanks.